Hi everyone, it's Kathy here, Karma's Creations. This is my part 2 of my Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 8. Thought I'd give you a view of a different Dresden plate. This is what will be the top of the bottom, the upper side of Roxy's quilt. I have 4 of these. Each has got 6 of these large squares, quilt blocks, and they're alternating what are these ones called? They elude me again, sorry. And the Dresden plates. There's 2 blocks of each of the Dresden plates I designed with blades from 6 up to 16. So there's 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So there's 12 of the Dresden plates altogether. Now this is what I've been doing. It sits this way up. Let me see. Yes, you can see there's the top. I'll move it up a little bit more. Yeah. Now I've tacked down this piece of toile. I've tacked down this butterfly. I've tacked mostly down this doily. I haven't put that side down because I want to see what might go there. I've sewn all around the outside of the doily as well. When it's finished, I'll get in and probably do a fan, or maybe a fan like this. Over on this side, which will join up to block 2, is this owl and another doily, a pink doily. I have some on number 2 that are blue, goes into blues on that side. This is the bit that I've been working on here. This is a half a doily, half a runner, sorry, big like a placemat almost. It had the iris on each end. Across the cut edge I've put this little, what would you call it, sandwich cloth maybe, with the 3 circles, the suns. This piece of fabric here, it's all been tacked down around the outside. It was a upper layer of an old quilt piece I bought. It was that big and it was falling apart. It was really grotty inside, so I pulled it all apart, and this is the top layer. It's been quilted for so many years that I'm going to follow the lines where it was quilted because I think it looked cool. I've put down this is one of my favourite doilies. It's so delicate, so fine. I've quilted it down, and I've put this doily down and quilted it down too. This piece will join on to number 5. I've sort of started tacking down all of them, little bits and pieces, but I'm going to work on this one today. I'm going to do the quilting lines through here. I'm going to finish quilting this one. I'm going to use the herringbone stitch to go around the edges of this piece of fabric like I have here. I hope you can see all these things. I've lifted you up a little bit higher. And then if I fold this just there for a minute and pull it in, maybe you can see where that's going to put this tea out of the road so I don't spill it. I did just spill one. Might be a good idea to put that over there. This one is number 2. And I know I showed you different white pieces that I was going to put on, but I did a little bit of a rearrangement last night. Now, these are big 12-inch quilt blocks that a friend was throwing out and getting rid of when she was moving. So I've made 2 rice bags with them. And now, what have I done here? Oh, the number on the other side. Just a minute. The Band-Aid is in aid of poking a needle through the back end of a needle through my thumb the other night. So it's a bit painful when I sew. So this one will go in there like that when it joins. This one will go over there a little bit. That'll cover that bit. This bit will come in here. Let's see if I can roll it a bit more. And then all these pieces, these blue ones, join onto the pinks. I'll bring them right over so you can see them all. It's one of my favourite doilies. These are the quilt blocks I was just talking about that my friend was making, and yeah, she never finished them. Another butterfly, a blue one this time, another half a table mat, table runner, and I've got this piece of tablecloth over here. I haven't got safety pins in there, which I should have. So that's number 2. And that will wait another day. I haven't sewn anything down on that one. This one is number 4, which will be under number 2. I'll just move this away. And I have another owl. And this is a bit of cave facet fabric, 5 bits that I've made a little block out of. One of the doilies I like. I've sewn all these down, but I can pick them up and tuck things in if I decide to, or go over the top. And then down the bottom here, I've tacked down this rail fence panel, which is made using the Japanese fabrics I got from the Howard Drapery in Howard. Piece of quilt fabric there, Japanese quilt fabric. Another one of my favourite doilies there. It hasn't been tacked down at all. And this bottom corner here, I've got some Japanese rabbits in a 4-patch. Another doily like the one on the top corner. And this is another piece off that same old quilt. This is the backing. Beautiful, beautiful. And almost bright, you know, quite bright still. But you can see it's like so fine. And paisleys, I love paisley. So, only one more big piece. I'll just put this pin back in properly. I haven't tacked any of that down. Only the top corner. And the last big piece is this one. I've done a bit of work on it. This is number 5. Absolutely adore this doily. I bought it for $6. It was absolutely beautiful. I've got another one somewhere with beads on it that I have to find. I haven't tacked. Oh yes, a little bit here I've done. These are more Japanese fabrics. A piece off the tablecloth. And another piece of twine. I like to, if it's raw edge, I like to go around with herringbone stitch. Another favourite doily. This is from the family, John's family. I think this one was one of his grandmothers. And then over here, I cut the quilt lady toile. And this piece here, from here, that was the bottom corner, the right bottom corner. And then this bit here was the top left corner. So I was able to piece them together to complete the picture there of the ladies in the quilt shop. And here's our little Dutch girl. So that's where I'm up to. Keeps moving, it keeps changing, which is good. I haven't got anywhere really big enough except the floor to put them all down so that I can work on them together. So it's a matter of wriggling around on this table or the kitchen table until I get it. Wrong one. Where's the one I want? Where's number one? Here. They're quite big pieces. They're 30 inches by 45 inches, which is in centimetres. Hang on. I'll get a ruler, a tape measure. I think that's the easiest way. 30 inches is 76 centimetres is the short side for all the Brits, Europeans and Australians and New Zealanders. And 45 on the long side is 114 centimetres. I'm doing my cantha stitching after I tack down the pieces. I'm not going right through to the other side because I've only quilted around it. I noticed this one has a stain on it. I'll have to put something over the top of that when it comes time to put the edgings on. This one here I quilted in circles and then quilted around. I tacked it down around the outside then and then around the next row and around the flowers. So it's not going to get caught on any toes, any toenails, any puppy dogs or pussycats or anything. And yes, our animals are in bed with us. Just going to have some tea and get it back out of the road so I don't spill it. Okay. Now, needle, where did you go? I'm using, at the moment I'm using Rasant thread, which is a bottom thread or a buttonhole thread. It's a little bit stronger. I won't use it when I'm doing this old quilt fabric because it will just tear the fabric. This is 100% cotton. I'll use one of the finer threads, possibly this DMC one. This DMC one. It's in a nude colour. And I'm using, my lines are 1/2 inch apart, and my little ruler that here it is. I'm using this little ruler which I picked up from Howard Drapery many years ago when I went there, when it was Van Couten's. And it's got Van Couten's Howard Drapery written on it there, and the old phone number that doesn't have very many numbers. It's missing 2 numbers. and it's called a 1/4 plus. It's a bit grotty. It's got 2 lines on it. Hang on just a minute. It's got 2 lines on it. It's a 1/2 inch wide, but it's got a line down the middle, and that's the 1/4 inch marked on it. And it's a really handy little ruler to cart around, and when you want to just have a 1/4 inch seam or a 1/2 inch quilting line, it's very easy to use, and it fits in a pencil case where the bigger rulers don't. I'm usually doing 3 or 4 rows, writing them down, drawing them on here. I'm not canthus stitching all the way to the edge. I'm only going about a 1/2 inch outside of whatever I'm quilting down. There will be patches on this quilt where there is no quilting. No quilt, it's quilted. You can see the lines of where I've quilted right through from the front. Or from the other side. I don't know which one's going to be the front. Maybe they're both going to be the front. So I thought I'd just share with you what I'm doing here and how I'm going about it. So I'll just do a few rows. I don't quilt through the canthus stitch, running stitch through the flowers. I leave them alone. And I'll just put one more line down. And I got my little iron here, so I'll iron them out as soon as I've used them. Get rid of them quick. Less chance of them coming back later then. So I've got 4 lines there. I need a thimble. I've got lots of little bits and pieces I've been doing. I got in and I'm just going to bury the knot into the quilt. And I pick it up with, I don't use a hoop. I find even with full-size quilts, I like to have it in my hand. Just have a look. Make sure we're going and make sure it's, yep, it's going, and I think you can see. Do we need to come down a little bit lower maybe? Hang on now. Hang on. It's being a little bit cantankerous. Here we go. There's my belly. You don't need to see that. I hope I went slow enough. There's my hand. So I need to go a little bit further this way. And I need to move me this way a little bit. Okay. Been watching everybody's work. So fabulous, and everybody has such different quilts on the go, different fabrics, different doilies, ones I've never seen before. And I know that The patterns, most of the patterns and things that came out for these doilies were printed in the magazines or newspapers, and these doilies, the ones that were on the cloth and you embroidered them. There was thousands of them produced, absolutely thousands. And I've seen some people overseas actually that have had, like this one here, this one here is a My Art. It says My Art for smart fashionable styles in aprons. My Art for lovely tea towels and guest towels. That's a big one and funny shape, this one, but I like it. And two small ones. So yeah, there would have been thousands and thousands of the same doily or placemat or tray cloth, runner, Duchess set. I used to have Duchess sets on my Duchess when I was a girl. Even as a young adult I used to use them. Nobody uses anything anymore. Just try and keep the dust off. But yeah. I'll have to see what tonight brings. I have absolutely no idea. I don't even try and guess. Because if I did, I'd be wrong. My background that I made is all linen, or linen and cotton, or cotton. I used a white sheet, cotton sheet. It isn't cotton poly one because my husband's allergic to polyester, so our sheets have to all be plain cotton. A little bit more expensive, but it's not as expensive as the cream he needs to address the dermatitis he gets from them. So you make allowances, you change the things you do. But yeah, I've got old tablecloths, bits of clothing. I had bought some cotton, linen, fabric a couple of years ago, and I still have a few pieces, little pieces of that left. But I didn't buy any more now because I can get it from all other sources, from table mats, from serviettes, from tablecloths. I pulled out some of my old tablecloths and put on the table the other day. Wow. Now, I'm using, it's sort of a soft grey, this one. It's somewhere between a grey and an off-white. And it seems to blend in with all the natural colours. Oh, sorry. Put you close enough to belt you there now. I might put my threads over the other side, and that will stop me from hitting you. I'm not quite sure. I think it's a sharps needle that I'm using here. It's a little bit longer. It's about 2 inches long. I like a longer needle than a short one. I used to be the opposite way around. When I stopped hand quilting 10 odd years ago, as in bed quilts, I was using a number 10 quilting needle, and they are tiny. They're only about an inch long, and I used the rocking method to hand quilt, and they were teeny tiny little stitches, but now I prefer the stitches that are about 1/8 of an inch long. Much better. Missed it. And somewhere here it is. Yeah, these are my 10s. These little ones, that one's in the wrong place. That's in a 7 or a 9. Might be a 9. No, 7. And these were my favourites, these little 10s. And I don't know if you can see that, but there's what I prefer now. And that's what I preferred then. There's huge difference. Not much difference in the thickness of the needle, but a lot different in the size of them. About the same size eye though. I do like Melina's needles, but the eyes are so tiny. The other line. Pull it through, bed it down. Up, went straight through. Obviously not quite big enough. Try again. There. I'll just snip that little bit of a long end off. It's a funny sort of a day here today. It's not hot and not cold. A little bit breezy. We had a bit of rain yesterday. Oops, that's the wrong line. What am I doing? I'm doing the same line again. It's a bit overcast actually, a bit dark. It's not very late and it's starting to get a bit dark now. Try again. Put it in the right place this time. In you go. Another thing I've found that's different, because when I was quilting I used to get about an inch of stitches on my hook needle, scrunched up when I rock. I don't ever seem to go more than about 3 now. Go underneath that fella. Well, I suppose it's just... My hands aren't as good as they used to be either though. They've actually been much better the last few weeks than normal. So I'm not going to complain at all about them because they're very painful when they're painful. Been watching everybody's videos. As I was saying before, I've got I sat down the other morning for a Zoom which didn't happen. There were family issues and health involved, so I didn't go back to bed. The Zooms are normally about 7 o'clock in the morning, which is not my time of day at all. But I sat there and I finished lining the inside of my box that we did at Corinne's retreat in Harvey Bay, and I love it. I didn't do it at the retreat because my colour scheme is pinks, a little bit of brown, a bit of green. So as much as I love the blues and browns and things that I got from Rachel to line it with, I decided to put them in my collection here at home and wait until I got home and get the reds and greens and golds and pinks out and do it. And that's what I did. I put a couple of documents in there, a page. I tore up a page from one of the dictionaries that I got from Rachel when I put an order in last year in her Etsy shop for paperwork, and beautiful papers I got off her. Oh, unreal papers. And so yeah, anything I didn't use went back into my collection. I'd love to get more, but I'm making myself not hoard. I'm making myself not buy more than I need and use up what I have first before I buy another pack. Very hard though. So I'll do a video finishing the panels off for the front and top. I've done the top panel for the lid, that's finished. I've got all the houses finished. I've got the backgrounds either tacked together or pinned together, and it's just a matter of embellishing, putting the last little bits down on the panels and sticking them down, and I'm finished. And I'm very, very happy with it. I have an old beauty case that is a wooden box underneath all the fabric, and I'm considering pulling that to pieces and do another one with a different theme. Too many ideas at the moment, though I haven't settled on one. While I was sitting there, and after I had finished the inside of the box, I thought, now what else can I do? And I've been working on a very colourful piece inspired by a lady called Maggie Morris, who is a YouTube follower of Annie Claxton of Arty Farty Annie. So of course I had to do that, and I included in that piece the fact that I had to make a book cover for some swatches that I'm a swatch book that I'm making with another group, Jerry Bellini, and I ended up doing two things with the two prompts, or two projects out of the one item. So I'm really happy with that. That's finished too. It's a big book, it's A4 size. And of course I've been following along with Annie Claxton's. This month she's inspired by a lady called Viviana Molinaris in America, and she does beautiful sea pictures, collages and embellished with stitching and beads, sequins, yarns, whatever you can get your hand on. And I'm doing that one with my daughter. We're doing a combined live on her channel, which is Joe's Paradise of Colour. She is normally a yarn artist, textile artist as well, but a yarn artist. She dyes, spins, all that sort of stuff. Weaves a bit too. She doesn't knit or crochet, but she has a good market for all her stuff, so that's wonderful. And so I've been going live with her weekly or fortnightly. We've only done 3. You'll have to come and have a look at them, or go over and have a look on Arty Farty Annie's. If I can just remember, this is the box. I know this is a Roxy's. This is my piece so far. I'll just turn that a bit. These are all bits from Silk and Stitch. They're all little components that I've cut off the lace fabrics. It's probably all glary, sorry. One of these angles you'll get a good shot. Been using a few little pieces on this. This will be a piece of wall art, I have decided. Let me have a look. Yep, you can see that. That's good. Now, I've stitched and then sequined the fish. This is all batik. I love batik. I've used lace and sequins and beads to do the corals. I've painted the background lace, which was all white or ecru, with my Inktense. And this is some of my yarn. I've couched those 2 down. This one is going to go in his tail, I think that way. No, it's got to go the other way, under the tail, and then round and round. And that will be couched down there when it's finished. I started beading that. We've got a couple more. I haven't done the clamshells. I haven't done the beads across here. That'll be all the sand and the corals and things. So if you want to watch that one, head over to Joe's channel. I'll leave a link to her as well. So yeah, but yeah, that one's going on the wall. A lot more to do on that yet. That was a commercial break. Back to this one. I was sitting there this morning tidying up this area a little bit. It seems to fall apart every time I turn around. And I found a couple more projects that I haven't finished. I started things like stuffed toys that I've been making, and I've got 3 dresses cut out that need to be sewn up, and yeah, I've got a couple more quilts that need to be quilted. I don't quilt on the machine because I'm rubbish at that. I do all my quilts by hand. The stitches are nowhere near as tiny as they used to be, but oh well. That's okay, they're still holding all the layers together. And I don't think there's ever going to be a quilt police come to my house to have a look at my quilts. And if there are, well, too bad. I don't enter them into competition. I make them for myself or for my friends and family. I'm getting pretty into this. At the beginning I thought, oh God, I'll never get this done. I thought when I started collecting bits and pieces to put on, I thought, oh, there will never be enough room for all the things I want to put on. My background is just plain fabrics. They're not doilies or runners. The pretty things are all going on top. I have to make another one though, because I'm not even going to touch the quantity of doilies and table linens and things I own. And that's not skiting, that's quite scary actually. But with my daughter now starting to stitch, she did it years ago when she was about 18, and she did some beautiful pieces. When she was 18, she came up and said, oh, I would like to learn how to do curved paper piecing. And I went, that's an advanced skill. I said, you usually start with straight edges and templates. And she said, but I don't want to do that. She says, I want to do curved paper piecing. I want you to teach me. So I said, well, what do you want to do? And she wanted to make a bird straight up. And I thought, oh God, feathers, body. She did a fantastic job. It is absolutely stunning. She's just like that though. If she's a visual learner, she's not a learner from a book. She was diagnosed with severe learning disability, and they wanted her to have somebody help her. They said she needed a carer in high school to write all her work down because she wasn't able. Her disability was that she lost somewhere between the eyes and with the reading, and formulating an idea and then putting it back down in writing again, she lost it. So they said, oh, she needs someone to read the question to her, ask her what her answer is, and write it down for her. And I went, no. And wasn't going to a huge high school and being the only kid there with an adult totting around after her. Wasn't going to happen. So I took them out of school and taught them at home in the method that they needed. All my children had. I had two gifted who caused disruptions in the class because they got their work done in 5 minutes and then decided to go and help others, and that was a disruption. They weren't sitting in their desk working. And then I had two that had learning disabilities, so I took them out of school and I taught them the way they needed to be taught. So, and then after 3 years, no, after 2 years, they were able to go back to school at the correct and appropriate age level and keep up. The two that were having troubles, the other two, I taught them coping strategies. And no, I'm no what do you call it? I'm not any professor or anything. I'm a university educated, but I'm not a professor or anything like that. I just knew how I understood my children. Right, now I'm going to get my iron. I'm going to iron out those lines before they set hard. I don't know if they do, but if I iron them out every time it happens, then I'm covered. My little iron is one that I saw Tia using. It's the cricket iron, and I love it. I sent a message when I saw her using it. I said, "What is that, and where did you get it from?" It just fits in your hand. It's very ergonomic. It's beautiful to use. It has 3 levels. You can turn it off when you've finished, but leave it plugged in, unlike a lot of the other little ones. So yeah, I think it's a fantastic invention. It'll come green in a minute. Where is the small ironing pad? Over there. I'll leave that lot then, and I'll come down here and I'll work a little bit of this one at the bottom. I think you can see all those stitches I did, the rows of stitches. I will change directions. I won't have them all in the one, but it just depends on the size of it. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. So now to turn it off, you just go like that and it turns it off altogether. And that way I can leave it plugged in, but not turned on. Now, just sit. I think I'm going to have to put it over here. There's a tin. I'll sit it on the tin. That's better. Now, the other thing I want to do is go around these edges with some herringbone. I've got some variegated yellow, 2-tone yellow. Where is the, here, this one, 3-tone. It's yellow and pale sort of bluey green and green. And I find these are blendables. These are why can't I think of the name? They're my favourite threads and I just can't think at the moment. Oh, nearly got it. Sulky. Gutermans make sulky, and they're same size bobbins as the Gutermans ones. I have lots of different ones, and they're a 12 weight, so they're a lot thicker than a normal thread. I should use a darker one. This one is a duet, and it's so much finer. It's hard to tell, but it is. Anyway, I did the yellow green here. I think I might do pink on this one, so it's a bit darker for you. That one, pretty pink. I got some beautiful ones when I went to Howard in the 50 weight, which is sewing machine cotton weight. That one come out. Okay, my needle, where did I put that? In there. I'll just do this round the edge, and then I'll use the DMC thread, which is much finer for the quilting lines. I put my finger on the iron before, and it is throbbing. My own silly fault. Come on, there you go. When I use these sulkies, I use them double, and it's equivalent to 2 strands of floss, embroidery floss. I actually use these to do, you didn't see that, to sew up my Alabama Channon inspired garments, which are all hand stitched. Dresses, t-shirts, skirts, not one machine stitch in them. And I love these blendables, the sulky blendables for that. So, okay, she doesn't want, here we go. I was going to say it didn't want to come through, but it did. And it's a bit longer than it should be, but it's not unworkable. I've already tacked down this edge, but I don't pull out my tacking thread. I always leave it in, even though a lot of times it's visible, the running stitch. I don't mind. When I've finished and it comes to the binding, I'm going to use all the bits of fabric that I've cut, my favourite fabrics, and I am going to what am I going to do? I'm going to bind around the edges, but I'm going to bind like Rachel does with the little pieces. The only difference is I will actually have no raw edges. They'll all be turned under, so whether I make a tube out of the fabrics and apply that so that there's no edges, no raw edges on the front or the back, or whether I just turn them all in and double them as I go, I'm not sure yet. It will be similar to how I do the normal quilt binding, but the difference with this one will be that I may have a big wide piece here and go right around and wrap it around to the front. It's just something I'm considering at the moment, especially for corners like this. Unpick all this, put a piece of fabric underneath, and then tack it back down and have that as part of the binding. I don't know yet. I'll see what else comes along. There could be strips of lace or something, in which case I can cover the gaps with lace. You know, who knows? I have no idea. I don't think I want buttons on it. There probably will be buttons, but I'll make fabric buttons. or maybe Dorset buttons. Something soft that's not going to catch you. Something the dogs won't chew off. Pretend ones. Herringbone's one of my favourite stitches. And Cretan stitch, or Cretan, however you pronounce it. I don't worry about whether it's perfect or whether the arms of it, or legs, or whatever you call them, are exactly the same. I find it quite nice if they aren't all exactly the same. Turn it a bit more. Almost got all that. Sometimes with a raw edge like this, I'll even go over it twice. Once in a colour to match the background, and then a second time with a colour to cover everything. Just depends on how fray the fabric is and what is the use, as you know, what the piece will be used for, whether fraying will make it look better or worse. I've been finishing my knots off on the top and then burying the thread mostly, coming up a little ways away and cut it off. And that's the little seam I've just made. I hope you can see that. I think you can. Okay, well, I'll just use this thread up and do a little bit of this one down here, even though that's blue. Yep. And then I'll just do one line of the other quilting, and then I might finish up because it's already just short of an hour. I should just get another needle. Little tiny frayed bits, but I'll go over it with my little vacuum cleaner and the rolly thing when I'm finished and pick all those bits up. I'll work on a different piece next time I come on, show you where I've been in between, what I've done. I won't work all of it on screen because it's just such a big job that everybody's going to get bored with it, including me. It doesn't come natural to me to talk to myself or to other people like this. If there's other people in the room, yeah, okay, I can be a bit chatty. Oh, that went through the thread. Finish that one off. put lots of knots in because I know that anywhere that there's a lot of wear, that it's going to eventually come apart. Right, now I'll put a bit of this other thread in that you won't even see because it disappears. It's a DMC thread in a 50 weight. And you go on, get in there. Double thread again. I do prefer to use a double thread, unless I'm tacking down, then it's a single. Oops, that's not working. Try again. This band-aid on my thumb is causing some trouble. Put my finger in there. That didn't work either. Third time lucky. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try that. No. What's going on here? Obviously this is very, very slippery thread. Got one. Not a very big knot, but it's a knot. Now, I don't know if you can see those lines. Let me have a look. See if I can get a... no, you can't. I'd have to draw over the top of them, which I could do. The one I'm going to do is a wibbly wobbly one. And I just have to find my pen now. It's run away too. Where's the ruler? The pen might be with it. Okay, we're not going to draw the line in because I can't find the pen. I do have a pink one in here, but you probably won't see that either. Do you like my little unicorn? His tail's on his head at the moment. Puppy had a go at it. His horn's a bit savaged. Let's see if this shows up. Right, this line goes their quilting's a bit like mine. It's definitely not straight when it's on the machine. I'm much better when I do it by hand. So there's my first line. That's an iron out pen too. That's a sew line pen. Sorry, it's an air erasable one. So I better get moving, or it'll be gone before I finish. I find hand quilting very, very relaxing. It's good if I want to de-stress. It's funny how we come back to the crafts that we started with. I started with knitting and crochet. They go in and out for me. At the moment, I can't knit without an extreme amount of pain. The movements don't agree with my bursitis in my shoulders, and they don't agree with the neuropathy in my fingers. Or the arthritis in my fingers. The crochet is not as bad. I can still crochet, and I have a crochet qualification. I'm certified to teach crochet in Australia, anywhere in the world actually, but maybe one day I might do some crochet tutorials. I know a few people have talked about some mittens that I make, and they're quite an easy pattern, and you don't need a pattern for them actually. Once you learn the sequence of stitches, if you can already crochet, they're very easy to make. They're adjustable, and you can use any size yarn that you like. So yeah, that'd probably be a good one. I'm teaching mosaic crochet intermediate level people that have already done the first course with me over the last 12 months, and I'm doing the next stage up for them. They know the technique now, so yeah, I'm doing that 2 weekends actually. About this time in 2 weekends it'll all be finished. I do it 2 days, and it's a CWA craft, and this class will be in Kingaroy, Queensland. I chop that off when I get to that end. I don't turn about. I like to always hand quilt towards myself. Now, I don't know if you can see that now. I think you might be able to see it better. Let me see. Where are we? Where are we? Yeah. Oh yes, you can see the indentation. Okay, that's all I'm going to do on here today. Hope everybody stays well, and I hope everyone enjoys tonight's reveal. Just before I noticed that Sarah's got a new video up, so I have to go and watch that now. So I'll say bye, and I'll see you soon. Bye.